my research is, broadly speaking, on trying to create autonomous agents, so that could be robots or software programs, that can exist in a robust way in the real world. So that involves, crucially, being able to learn from experience, especially through reinforcement learning, to be able to interact with other agents, the area known as multi-agent systems. And there's a big component of my research that's involved in actually making this happen on real robots, so robotics. So I really live at the intersection between reinforcement learning, multi-agent systems, and robotics. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things. I've in my lab at the University of Texas, we've been working a lot on human-robot interaction, on allowing robots to be able to navigate autonomously for long periods of time. We have robots that can be left unsupervised to wander through the hallways for hours at a time, that can improve their natural language understanding through human interaction, through reasoning. So that's one thing. I think there's, we call this the Building-Wide Intelligence Project, and it's something that I'm very excited about. There's also been a really nice thread of research on autonomous traffic management, thinking ahead to what the world will look like if and when we get to a point where most of the cars on the road are autonomous. How can we leverage that to sort of increase throughput through on our current road infrastructures, rather than having to to build new roads? What can we do to make traffic more efficient? That's something that could save millions of people lots of time, also conserve fuel, reduce emissions. There's a really high impact there, and there's some really interesting multi-agent systems issues that I've been working on with colleagues in the civil engineering department and in the computer science department that we've really been making good progress on. At Cogitai, I'm really excited about the reinforcement learning platform that we've been developing. There's reinforcement learning is an area that's one of these areas where most of the main ideas and many of the main ideas have been developed over a long period of time through a very large community. And we're now at a moment when, just like with neural networks and deep networks, there's sort of there was a confluence of data and computation that made them sort of able to do new things. I feel like reinforcement learning is nearing its moment. It's still uncertain, sort of how broad the potential applications are that are practical in industry right now. But at Cogitai, we've designed a platform that really incorporates all the best aspects of reinforcement learning, including some of our own innovations, that is ready to explore and ask that question: what value can reinforcement learning bring to the world right now? And I'm optimistic that that what we've developed is gonna have a big impact and lead to one of these dramatic landmarks that we've been seeing in some other areas. So I'm super excited about that through our work at Cogitai. So there's many that are possible, and we've actually explored many different use cases. There's some that are sort of in the realm of control of hardware, or so a typical application, and one that we've looked at as well, and have some others, is building the control of environments or climates within buildings based on controlling the HVAC units, to be able to keep people comfortable while minimizing energy, taking into account sort of the influence of different air temperatures in different parts of the building and the weather outside and heat transfer through windows. It's a very complex problem, more than many people think, and I think it's difficult to hand tune these controllers, but reinforcement learning is sort of set up to be able to learn from data what's going to be the most efficient way to do this. There's also a huge class of applications that I'm really excited about exploring, that I sort of generally call user engagement. They can range from the sort of entertainment kind of style, where if you're a video game developer, you want to think about what kinds of interactions with an individual person are going to keep a person coming back to play the game. Some people may respond to really big challenges that last over long periods of time. Other people may respond to sort of frequent rewards that are small. how hard do you make the different levels over time? You don't want to make them too hard, too easy. How are people responding? And making a game sort of adapt to people, I think is sort of a good challenge. Important applications, for lack of a better word, things like user engagement to drive behavior change for health purposes. If somebody's trying to quit smoking, what are the feedback and interactions you should give them over time that's going to make it more likely that they'll be able to change their behavior in this way, or for weight loss, or for fitness, or for diet. There's a whole slew of sort of user engagement issues that are really decision makings that problems that play out over time, and that's exactly what reinforcement learning is built for. And so I think these are really rich potential applications that I'm really excited about sort of exploring in the marketplace to see where the biggest value is. Within 5 years, there's the thing with sort of 5-year kind of predictions is there's a lot of things at play. It's I think the technology is absolutely ready, and I think especially what we've built at Cogitai, the platform that we've developed, is ready to have a big impact on these kinds of applications immediately, right now. But the question of what kind of impact it will have also is related to business questions and marketing questions and what people are ready for, and so that's the questions that we're exploring right now. I think that there's certainly things like reinforcement learning being used for user engagement applications in a practical way. I think that's very near term, that's very possible, and that we're ready to do it. One of the advantages of what we're working on at Cogitai is it's fundamentally the technology is a software technology, and if you find the niche where it can work, it can really sweep the world really quickly as long as the value is demonstrated. My biggest passions over the years have been and continue to be reinforcement learning, pushing reinforcement learning to the limit and understanding what it is able to do, and understanding what new innovations are needed to make it more broadly applicable. I'm also very, very passionate about multi-agent systems, about what are the kinds of game theoretic and decision theoretic type of reasonings that is needed and useful for agents to be able to interact efficiently with other agents and with people. Continual learning to me is the natural evolution of the original idea of reinforcement learning, and that there's as with any discipline, it makes sense to start in the most sort of constrained, simple kind of setting, and so people have talked about and studied how a single agent in a simple world with discrete states and actions and a finite episodes and finite time to live while doing a single task can learn, and that's been very interesting, and that's been sort of the starting point for reinforcement learning. But as you relax each of those assumptions, you start to add more complex environments, and you start to say that an agent has a single existence, a single extended lifetime, that it's continually doing different tasks, that it needs to be able to transfer its experience from one task to another task, rather than doing the same thing over and over again, and to be flexible. As each of those sort of assumptions drops away, and you and start opening up to the broader questions, you get closer and closer to what people describe as continual learning. And so for me, there's sort of a spectrum. There's a continuum between reinforcement learning and continual learning, and the community has been gradually opening up to and addressing the challenges that would go into making a long-term autonomous agent. And so it's really, continual learning to me is about reinforcement learning in a long-term autonomy setting.